Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, God's Freaks, where we discuss the language of the Holy Spirit as is manifest upon the flesh. So, as the title of the video suggests, we're going to discuss just what the seal on the forehead of men in the book of Revelations means, how you will know it, how you will feel it. And we will use the Apostles' own words to show exactly what that seal is and what the other location in the body map that location is. So 21 years ago, I went on a walk. God took me on a walk. I was at the end of my life. I was ready to jump in front of a Mack truck on my bicycle at 80 kilometers an hour and take an early dirt nap. But I thought I'd see if God was real. So he made some intercessions for me, and I had the opportunity to humble myself and receive power, be clothed in power, as it was said to the apostles when Pentecost was approaching. And Jesus told them, don't leave the city until you're clothed in power. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't have a religious bone in my body, except that I was raised in it, and I didn't really have any use for it. But I would learn these things over the years, because he took me on a 2-week walk, and he made his spirit known upon my brow, my forehead, and on my solar plexus, or my heart, in the most profound ways. There's 19 pages in that testimony, which is an account of those 14 days, and to date, a few of the instances and learning and growth along the way. But mostly, it's an account of those 14 days, a witness to the Spirit working in me, correcting me, teaching me, comforting me, correcting me. Did I say that twice? Yeah, it's worthy. We need a lot of correction. We don't really know it. But without that Spirit, we're just running around in circles like a snake eating its own tail. So let's get to work. If you're here because of the title. You want to know what that seal on the forehead is. So let's recap. You've probably already read the literature. So there are 4 mentions in Revelations about the seal. The first one is the angel that comes up with the seal of the living God on its forehead, who tells the other angels, wait until the remnant have been sealed. And then further on, the next verse is, after they've been sealed, the scorpions are sent down to cause men extreme excruciating pain for 5 months, but not kill them. And then at the end of Revelations, we see the Lamb on Mount Zion with the 144,000 with the seal of their father's name, or his father's name, on their forehead. And then we move on to what the apostles say. Now, this is really interesting because the apostles tell us what the seal is. Luke, for example, being told to stay in the city until you've been clothed with power. Ephesians, they were sealed by the Holy Spirit. And again in Ephesians 4:30, when you were sealed for the day of redemption. So in Ephesians 1:13, we hear, because you believed in him, you were sealed with the promised Holy Spirit, who is the guarantee of our inheritance until we acquire possession of it. The Holy Spirit is the teacher who brings you to perfection as our Father in heaven is perfect, again, as it says quite clearly by the apostles in the New Testament. And then we have Corinthians. Christ has anointed us, who has also put his seal on us and given us the Spirit in our hearts as a guarantee. So there we have a reference to the heart. We move over to Galatians. It says, God sent the Spirit of God into our hearts, and then it says we cried out, Abba, Abba. John says, and living water will flow out of your heart. So we see that the apostles talk about the seal being the Holy Spirit. They mention it 3 or 4 times in direct relation to the heart. And then in Revelations, we see the seal of God being on the forehead of men. So, like the mark, who is, or what is referenced to the forehead and the hand, God's seal is referenced to the forehead and the heart. So we clearly see that the seal of God upon the foreheads of men in Revelations is the Holy Spirit. So, how do we know the Holy Spirit? So in order to know the Holy Spirit, we have to know what the acts of the Holy Spirit are. And so the very first act in the New Testament of the Holy Spirit is when Christ is baptized after his 40 days fasting in the desert. And the dove comes down, and an audible voice can be heard saying, "This is my son with whom I'm well pleased." And the Spirit in the form of the dove descends upon him. Later in Pentecost, after 40 days after his crucifixion, by the way, go look that up if you're interested. That 40 days, 40 years, always represent fasting in the desert, and there's a good reason for it. When the apostles received the Holy Spirit at Pentecost, it came down on them, it's described as tongues of fire. This is very significant because the tongues of fire, if you look at the dove upside down, it's a common theme in the church. You'll see the tongues of fire there quite clearly. There's quite a few references of the Holy Spirit being sealed upon the hearts of the apostles. It's spoken to numerous times. So a quick synopsis. 21 years ago, I had a 14-day walk with God that came with power. The Spirit was made known to me both upon my forehead and my abdomen in most profound ways. I will share stories of this along the way. However, if you want to know the witness to the account-by-account details of this 14-day walk and beyond, I've left a link in the description box for my testimony. It's a bit lengthy, but it's not like reading a novel or anything. It's just 19 pages of, as best I could, just made an account of what happened to me. And I went looking after I got told, "Now you know what you're looking for, go find it." Well, that's what I did. I went looking, and boy, oh boy, it was hard to find references and mentions. They were obscure at best. It definitely got quashed somewhere along the way. I suspect somewhere around the Nicene Creed to the Dark Ages. But nonetheless, if you really want to know more about how you'll know that seal on your forehead, I really highly recommend you read the witness that I have left below. Otherwise, we're going to discuss more about the language of the Holy Spirit. We're going to also discuss the kingdom within, which after 2,000 years of Christianity being around, you'd think there would be a good, accurate roadmap. And there is, but it's not in the open. It's hidden and coveted. But we'll get into that as well in future episodes. I hope this is of interest to you. Please leave me comments below to let me know how interested you are in hearing more of this. Have a great day. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this informative, and I hope you stay tuned for more content in the future.